There's language.
The end of the world is coming.
The glass is more than half full. Well, what we'll need to see tonight is the... Sorry.
Whoops. We've just had a glass breakage here.
As they're running around saying in the economy the glass is half empty. Sorry. And then going on to make even more extreme statements by smashing the glass on the floor. Sorry.
I am the best person to lead the Labor Party.
I think my words speak very plainly for themselves. In the statement I put out, and being absolutely clear-cut that there are no circumstances whatsoever under which I'd return to the leadership in the future.
Kevin talks about stealth. I mean, this has been a covert operation, and he's up there operating the drone 24 hours a day because he never sleeps. He's always manipulating something.
And we're out there talking to communities and talking to the mining companies and people that have a bit of sorry.
At Adelaide's Stag Hotel in February last year, in front of witnesses, you referred to the Prime Minister as a childless, atheist, ex-communist. True?
That's not true, Laurie. In that particular occasion, which you somewhat evocatively describe as the Stag Hotel, as if it's some place of ill repute, it was the place where I'd been invited as a person. Oh, well, hang on. You know what we're talking about here. It sounds as if it's some terrible place.
The 4 years of surpluses I announced tonight are a powerful endorsement of the strength of our economy. Lee, there's nothing I'm prouder of than my record as Treasurer.
No Whyalla wipe out there on my TV. No Whyalla wipe out there on my TV.
It was seen by many as a disaster from start to finish. Now the federal government's scheme to install pink bats in homes across the country is being picked over by a Sydney coroner.
I remind the Prime Minister that he was responsible for the home insulation program that cost $1 billion to fix, was linked to 4 tragedies, more than 220 house fires, thousands of electrified roofs and thousands of job losses, and that he personally received at least 10 direct warnings.
The federal government has today been slammed over his failed home insulation scheme, with the Queensland coroner accusing it of putting the economy ahead of human safety.
Bill Shorten, thanks for your time. Just picking up on Peter Slipper, before we get to the Health Services Union, can I ask you, do you think he should return to the Speaker's chair while these civil claims are still being played out?
I understand that the Prime Minister's addressed this in a press conference in Turkey in the last few hours. I haven't seen what she said, but let me say I support what it is that she said.
I'm to cancel this meeting at 6 o'clock. We are going to have patience to do it.
How have you managed to damage brand Rudd so comprehensively in such a short time this year?
Kerry, obviously the government's going through a tough time at present.
No Whyalla wipe out there on my TV. Shocking me right out of my brain. Shocking me right out of my brain.
The government's Malaysian solution for asylum seekers is in tatters tonight after being ruled unlawful by the High Court.
100 asylum seekers staged a violent riot overnight at Sydney's Villawood Detention Centre. The protesters set fire to buildings and threw roof tiles and furniture at firefighters.
Hang on, you haven't seen what she said.
But I support what my Prime Minister said, so...
Well, what's your view?
Well, my view is what the Prime Minister's view is.
Surely you must have your own view on this, Bill Shorten.
All right.
There will be no carbon tax under the government I lead.
So where has the Gillard government performed poorly? You know, we're growing stronger than any developed country in the world.
You've asked the same question a number of times.
Odd to me.
Well, it might seem odd to you. Perhaps that's why you're a journo and I'm in politics. Because what I know, some people report, some people do.
Just another day in Labor politics. Police raid the Sydney headquarters of the Health Services Union as part of their investigation into claims of serious corruption dating back to the 1990s.
Mike Williamson, the union's president and Labor National Vice President.
This matter is obviously on the agenda.
Ducked for cover.
Overhand group.
Michael Williamson has been arrested in Sydney this morning and charged with 20 offences.
These matters have yet to be established, and I support what our Prime Minister has said.
But you don't know what that is?
No, I'm sure she's right.
We get the decisions right.
We know how to play the game. Side by side we stick together.
Good evening. The quasi 8-month federal election campaign could not have started any worse for the Labor Party, with exiled federal MP Craig Thomson arrested and facing 150 fraud charges.
Do you understand why so many people have turned against you now, Kevin Rudd? Not just the government, Kevin Rudd. And do you accept that they have judged your leadership and found you wanting?
He couldn't negotiate with the states to get an outcome. He wouldn't get proper legal advice. He wouldn't let officials properly prepare the pros and cons.
So making news this morning, Federal Minister Anthony Albanese. Now, during an attack on Tony Abbott, he's been caught out plagiarising lines straight from the Michael Douglas movie, The American President.
In Australia, we have serious challenges to solve, and we need serious people to solve them. Unfortunately, Tony Abbott is not the least bit interested in fixing anything.
We have serious problems to solve, and we need serious people to solve them. And whatever your particular problem is, I promise you, Bob Rumson is not the least bit interested in solving it.
He's only interested in two things: making Australians afraid of it and telling them who's to blame for it.
He is interested in two things, and two things only: making you afraid of it and telling you who's to blame for it.
It's time for the Australian Labor Party to unite under Prime Minister Julia Gillard.
Okay, well, you played a key role in the removal of Kevin Rudd as Prime Minister. Now you've played a role in the removal of Julia Gillard as Prime Minister. Are you a traitor?
No.
It is open warfare in the Labor Party. And who gets lost in all of this? The people of Australia. They're the ones that are left behind. Their concerns about cost of living. Their concerns about raising their families. Their concerns about law and order. They are the people, the forgotten people. The 23 million people are forgotten.
What he can do is spread confusion. What he can do is get himself into the media.
But does this mean that opinion polls really decide who's Prime Minister?
No.
But that's what you're basing your decisions on, isn't it?
No, what I'm basing on is what I think is important